young woman serving in the National Guard who was shot Wednesday has died. Another young soldier was also shot. He is in critical condition and is 24 years old. We're learning the alleged shooter was evacuated to the U.S. from Afghanistan in 2021. He was granted asylum this past April, and he had worked with the CIA as part of an elite Afghan counterterrorism unit. He would have been vetted for that role. Attorney for the District of Columbia, Janine Pirro, is calling out our vetting system.
If you saw the chaos that was going on at that airport in Kabul, in Afghanistan, it was typical of what was going on in the Biden administration. People in the Biden administration said the Afghan withdrawal that we all know was disastrous was a success. And that's a quote. They called that a success. That chaos is not a success. That is a nightmare. So let's stop namby-pambing around with this, oh, he was vetted. There was no vetted. The welcome mat was thrown down. They even admitted that they short-circuited the vetting. What they did was they brought in 90,000 people into this country that were not vetted.
90,000 people. Dan Hoffman joins me now. Dan, I mean,
let's jump into it.
One Biden official is quoted as saying, err on the side of excess. Pack the planes, get them out. These are Afghans. These are our allies. I mean, we couldn't vet all of them.
No, not at the rate that they came in.
Well, I would say first in regarding the individual who shot our brave, courageous National Guard Army officers. He was vetted, I'm quite sure, when he was working with the CIA years and years ago.
Oh, I guess, yeah, by default,
But one of the things we always believe in CIA is that if we vetted someone 6 months ago, then that vetting might have been good then, but it doesn't mean it's good today. And so the questions that remain are what motivated the shooter? Was he radicalized online? Was he doing the bidding of ISIS or Al-Qaeda? There are lots of unanswered questions there. I also think it's time for the Trump administration, past time, to do a zero-based review of whatever vetting was done or not done for the Afghans, the tens of thousands of them who came to the United States. I wouldn't hold all of them responsible for this vicious act of one lone wolf shooter. But it's still, from a policy perspective, an important step to take.
But would you vet them more, the other Afghan people who came here?
Well, I think the administration needs to do a zero-based review to determine how, when they were vetted, and determine whether additional vetting is required. I think that's something that they may be looking at.
Yeah, and what has gone on since they've come here? Were they radicalized in the United States? I'm not asking you to guess as to what the suspected shooter's motive was, but with your experience, what are some possibilities for the motive here?
I mean, the possibilities are endless, frankly. It's certainly what we need to be. If I were at CIA, what I'd be worried about is that he had been radicalized online, that he was in touch even with ISIS operatives or Al-Qaeda operatives who were encouraging him to do this. Or perhaps he was radicalized online without having direct contact with terrorists overseas. But those are the key questions we need to answer. Is this part of a network? And if so, we need to find where that network leads us and ensure that further attacks don't take place. So I think there's just a lot of work yet to be done.
Yeah, this definitely is a slippery slope. We'll talk about it later.
Next one, Dan. Russia's Vladimir Putin says he is ready for, quote, serious peace talks with Ukraine. He says the draft of the plan by the U.S. and Ukraine could form the basis of a future deal that could end this war. Do you believe Putin this time?
No. You better not.
And I didn't believe him last time or the time before that either. Look, I spent decades at CIA trying to see the world through the twisted KGB eyes of Vladimir Putin. And we have CIA leadership analysts who are doing that right now, supporting Director Ratcliffe and the Trump administration so that we can better understand Putin's plans and intentions. When I was at CIA, we used to talk about something called historical placement. What were the formative experiences for a leader like Vladimir Putin? For him, when he was serving in the KGB, the Soviet Union collapsed, Soviet troops withdrew from Afghanistan. I think Putin is very concerned about striking a deal with the Ukrainian leader, Zelensky, whom Putin vowed to topple. and hasn't done so yet. This war, if you listen to General Jack Keane, Institute for Study of War, it's been a total failure for Putin. His army has made very slow, minuscule, incremental gains at a cost of 1 million casualties. Everything Putin says, it's propaganda designed to influence, not inform.
1 million casualties.
Jeez,
Dan, the Wall Street Journal says that after speaking with China's Xi Jinping, President Trump told Japan not to poke the bear and that they should lower the volume on Taiwan. Taiwan has always been a controversial topic. What happens now with Taiwan? I'm just thinking President Trump needs the Chinese to buy our soybeans, for instance, and they have to message diplomacy to Japan. What happens to Taiwan in these times?
Well, I think it's important to see the world through the eyes of Xi Jinping in this case, and what he wants to do is intertwine our diplomatic relationships with his preeminent foreign policy goal, which is to illegally annex and take over Taiwan. And he'd like to do it without using force, but I think he's prepared someday to use force if necessary. Japan, concerned already about China militarizing the South China Sea, is rightly concerned about China's interest in attacking Taiwan and was speaking up about it. I don't think it's our place to tell the Japanese government what to say or what not to say. And I think we need to be careful going forward not to allow China to seek gains in commercial negotiations by giving up strategic areas of interest to our country.
Dan Hoffman.
And that's definitely Taiwan. Like, listen, if China basically takes Taiwan, like the level of influence that they will have will be even crazier, specifically over the South China Sea. You understand that we go through there pretty often here. Like that strait that we kind of move past, right? That's international waters, even though for the most part, China basically doesn't kind of agree with the fact that that area specifically is international waters. So things are generally getting kind of spicy in that region here. Now, when it comes to Taiwan, Taiwan needs to be Taiwan. I'm sorry, right? I don't know if that offends, right? But Taiwan needs to be Taiwan. Obviously, if China was to take Taiwan, I think it'll change the landscape pretty drastically. I'm not sure that we could safely even move through those international waters. And the fact that Japan itself is also now pointing out, hey, listen, guys, we don't want you there, right? Like, how about you stay where you are? But if you specifically take Taiwan and then you change what it feels like in the region because you're there with all of your hostility, then that's not going to work, my boys. That's kind of the vibe I get. And they are definitely putting their weapons and military kind of to the forefront here, because they're blatantly saying, if you affect Taiwan in any meaningful manner, China, all right, you and your one China policy, right, then we're going to have to defend ourselves. And again, if we defend ourselves, if they defend themselves, then we're going to help defend them, right? Like, we're going to go super hard. And that's kind of one of those things there, guys. So, I don't know, bro. What do you guys think, though? Do you seriously think that China is going to actually make a push to take Taiwan within our lifetime here? I think Beijing specifically is bold enough to try to do something completely outrageous. Like, I mean, understand who their general allies are. Russia just did this to the Ukraine, right? For less. You get what I mean here, guys? Like, specifically Xi Jinping and the PRC, they are in fact kind of feeling shame in the context of losing a place that is now thriving and booming, guys, right? That's what this is here. That's all this is here. It's the shame of losing something specifically that happened 80 years ago. You lost it 80 years ago during the Chinese Civil War. They no longer want to be you guys, right? And so much time has passed. They kind of started making their own culture and doing all the things that they want to do. They really do not want to be part of your one China doctrine, let's say, here, guys. All right, they have moved on, and it's been a really, really long time, guys. All right, guys, do you want to watch movies with me? I never actually thought to like promote it over here, guys. But if you guys do want to watch it, guys, we have hundreds of movies, and I mean
hundreds of movies that we've reacted to. You guys can come watch them with me if you want to, along with many TV shows. Currently, we're working on the show Dexter, along with Vikings. And we have a lot of series that are already completed. But if you guys do want to watch it with me, the link is in the description. Everything's available at the second tier. But of course, if that's not your thing, guys, don't worry, right? Listen, like and subscribe.